What's good, YouTube? Saiyan Z3 here, finally doing another character analysis for you people. I should have done this a while back. I don't know what got into me. The only reason that I have is laziness. Not a good enough excuse, I know, so I'm sorry, but I'm finally here. I'm doing these. I'm gonna do a couple more videos after this so I feel like I've been falling behind in terms of giving you guys videos, and I guess you guys like my content, or you don't, or you just like to make fun of me, whatever, but I'm gonna keep pushing them out. So I didn't know who I wanted to do an analysis for next. I was thinking I was gonna do my favorite characters, like, through a list. I pretty much got my the heroes out of the way. At least my favorite heroes out of the way. So I what is that? That's like my top five characters, right? Number one, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Bardock, and then Gohan and Trunks, right? So yeah, now we're going into my bottom five. Well, I should have gotten into my bottom five, but I'm gonna be doing Kami today. Okay, Kami, I don't know if is actually in my top 10. I don't know if he is, but I decided to do his character anyway because no one is talking about him. No one talks about him, and it's a shame because I don't think anyone really understood like what his character was about. So I'm here to break it down for you, and in my opinion, he's the most underrated character in the series, and I hope that you guys see why at the end of this video. So let me just jump right into it. Kami is pretty much what we would say is the good half of the nameless Namekian. When he first came from Namek. If you guys don't know this, I'll reiterate some backstory for you guys with Planet Namek and Kami's quote unquote father, or the nameless Namek's father to be more precise. The nameless Namekian was actually the son of a Namekian called Katas. We learn about Katas actually from Guru in the Frieza / Namek arc. There were a lot of, say, like grand elders or very powerful sage like Nameks on the planet back in the day when Guru was sort of young, and then a great what's it called climate change affected Namek, wiping most of them out, and Guru was the only surviving member. But before Katas died out, he sent his son, the nameless Namekian, to Earth through a Namekian spaceship. Kami remembers that when he was the nameless Namekian that he had a very hard past because he came to Earth with no memory of Namek. So he was rendered an amnesiac, a stranger in a strange land, and he landed in a place called Yunzabit Heights. And Yunzabit Heights in the dragon world, that's what it's called. It's known for its loneliness, its cold weather. It's sort of like that mountainous, sort of like a place where a recluse would live, and he was pretty much isolated there for almost all his life. And pretty much the nameless Namekian as Kami, pretty much Kami was the nameless Namekian. King Piccolo hadn't really come into play yet, and I'll explain like how all that works later in the vid. But Kami and the nameless Namekian were still pretty much the same. There was no King Piccolo yet. So Kami remembered him, even though he was rendered an amnesiac. He still remembered his childhood in the Yunzabit Heights, and he was always waiting in the spaceship or outside of the spaceship in Yunzabit Heights, that lonely, cold place, always waiting for his parents. But they never came because he didn't know that Namekians existed. He didn't know that Katas was his father, or that Namekians reproduced asexually. He didn't know all that. So because his parents never came, he left to wander the earth and try to find out more about it. And thus, he has this epic quest of him becoming the God of Earth in Japanese, or as Funimation / English people like to know, or remember it as the Guardian of the Earth. During his quest to understand humanity, he actually got tainted by the evil / the selfishness of humans, right? And he didn't realize this, but this actually developed a dark personality, for a better lack of term, inside him called King Piccolo. And when he first went to become the Guardian of the Earth, the previous Guardian of the Earth, who we have no knowledge who he is, at least I don't think we do, said that he should go, and he was rejected because he had that inside him. He had King Piccolo inside him, so he had to separate himself from King Piccolo after he was rejected. And that evil that evil was called, like I said before, King Piccolo, and just that evil side of Kami slash the nameless Namekian was caused by what he saw in humans when he landed on Earth. Like, that's the reason why King Piccolo was born in the first place. So he separated himself from King Piccolo and became the guardian of the Earth. But the best thing about Kami's character to me was that he always felt guilt over allowing not only King Piccolo but also Piccolo to exist, because he existed. If you guys remember, if Kami dies, King Piccolo dies, and Piccolo dies. If he lives, the other two live, and it's because he had taken up. I'm going to use the Japanese word because I think it's more impactful. Because he was pretty much god of the earth, and that's what a lot of people call him anyway, Kami. Because he was pretty much a god, a truly benevolent god would not allow for evil to exist on Earth. Correct? Now, I don't want to get into any religious debate over here, but that's pretty much the idea that Toriyama was going for with Kami. And because he allowed King Piccolo and Piccolo to exist, and because he was god of the Earth, he always felt guilt over that. So to sort of try and atone for himself, because he was responsible for their existence, he created the Dragon Balls. And he did it to give humanity hope to combat that powerful evil. But he later regretted creating the Dragon Balls because he saw the selfishness of humans. And I'm sure you guys know, if you get the Dragon Balls, you can get pretty much any wish that you want. You can get your own kingdom, riches, wealth, a woman, underwear. It doesn't really matter. But the selfishness of humans, that one thing really made Kami regret his decision to create the Dragon Balls much later. When he was I want to say 50 years or so after he was Guardian of the Earth. But that attitude towards humanity, and why he didn't really care for humanity, was changed when he saw Goku fight King Piccolo, and when he met him in person. That's when he saw the capacity for purity in people. But even after he met Goku, he still thought that he didn't deserve to be God because he allowed for evil to stay on Earth. And he was responsible for it because he was living. I mean, by the time the 23rd World Tournament came, he had already made the decision to try and kill himself on several occasions just to stop evil from fucking up the entire planet. But it isn't until the end of the 23rd World Tournament when Goku beats Piccolo and Kami's ready to kill him, but then Goku intervenes and he says that I have to do it. I have to rid it's my obligation. It's my duty. And Roshi and Goku stop him, and Roshi says that this entire journey, pretty much the entire 194 chapters, 151 episodes, if you guys watch the anime, wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for Kami and his Dragon Balls. So using that, he is able to forgive himself and continue as Guardian of the Earth until he fuses with Piccolo later in the Cell / Androids arc. And he does have some nice quotes to Goku. I think the 23rd World Tournament / after he beats King Piccolo, like that final part of the King Piccolo saga, I think that really, really delves into Kami's character in terms of he finds humans selfish. It's an interesting viewpoint to see from someone who at that time we saw as pretty much God, and that too, he could fight. Remember, he was in Hero's body and he fought Piccolo. Junior in the 23rd World Tournament. Kami was said to be stronger than Mr. Popo, and Mr. Popo was easily beating Goku, who had just beaten King Piccolo. So, and actually, Kami was actually stated to be the more powerful out of Kami and King Piccolo. So, and I guess it makes sense because Kami was originally, he was the original persona as the nameless Namekian, and only King Piccolo came after that, after he saw the evil / selfishness in humans. But a nice quote that he says to Goku is that, and he says this when he's in Hero's body, it's before he fights Junior or / Piccolo in the 23rd World Tournament. It's before that match, right before it. He says, "God can't kill himself." I think that's a very powerful quote, and it's one of the best quotes that I've seen in the series because, again, I realize Dragon Ball is like a very old series, but I think that's one quote that not many people pick up on that Kami said, and I think that's an excellent quote. God can't kill himself. Later is willing to kill himself to deal with what he is the cause of. So he pretty much lied to Goku initially about saying that he can't end his own life, which leads to question like why he used the Mafuba. Maybe he feared for his own life or whatever. But it's interesting that he was willing to use the Mafuba at first, saying that he can't kill himself, and then when Goku beats him, he decides that enough is enough, and I don't deserve to be Guardian of the Earth / God of the Earth anyway. I might as well just end my life and try and do what I can. And then, of course, like I said before, Goku and Roshi stop him. In Z, so that's pretty much his Dragon Ball stuff. In Z, his development sort of well, in Z we finally learn about him and Yunzabit Heights, actually, like I was saying at the beginning of this vid, how when he touched down he was isolated and lonely, and he was always waiting for his parents, yet they never came. You learn about this after the fight with Vegeta. Oh, no, sorry, not after the fight with Vegeta. Wait, is it? Yeah, wait, is it? No, I don't think it's after the fight with Vegeta. It's yeah, no, wait. I think Mr. Popo. I think Mr. Yeah. I think it was a memory. It was a recount by Mr. Popo, if I'm not mistaken. But we learn about Yunzabit Heights. About his childhood and from that at the end of the Saiyan saga, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, his character is all about his personality with Piccolo, because Piccolo really doesn't want to fuse with anyone. I mean, he even reiterates that when he tries to fuse with Nail. But Kami felt the opposite. He always felt incomplete without uniting with Piccolo, which is why when Piccolo, during the Cell arc / Androids arc, goes to fuse with Piccolo to fight not only 17, but to find out what's going on in Ginger Town and ultimately that Cell. But the reason why he decides to do it is because he wants to assess the evil that is he wants to assess Cell before he finally loses himself, meaning that he was sort of like Piccolo in that sense, but he was willing to overcome that, as was Piccolo. He was willing to overcome his individuality to permanently fuse with Piccolo, much like the Potara earrings, for the best of for the greater good, pretty much. And it's interesting because, like I said before, Piccolo never wanted to do that, but Kami always had he always had thoughts about doing it, which I thought was becoming of him. And he also said that he felt that he had been useless as pretty much Guardian of the Earth, right? So he wasn't a fighter anymore. He just wasn't strong anymore. So this was the best way for him to serve Earth. And I guess in the end, by fusing with Piccolo and saying goodbye to Mr. Popo, in a sense, he really did do a venerable act at the end of his so-called life. So I think, again, just to recap real quick, I think the reason why I think Kami is the most underrated character in DBZ is pretty much he's like Koenma from Yu Yu Hakusho. I've always made this comparison, and I do feel Kami is better just because the whole thing with the past and how he had to pretty much become the Guardian of Earth on his own, and how he had to deal with evil and the guilt that he felt, which is pretty much similar to the guilt that Koenma felt over Sensui. And of course, both Kami and Koenma use the Mafuba at some point, but that's enough about Yu Yu Hakusho and DBZ. I'll probably say that for another vid. But Kami, it's interesting that he was God, yet he felt guilt. And I think that's the one thing that always attracted me to his character. And if you guys want to know what I'm talking about, chapters I would recommend reading about Kami, the end of the 23rd World Tournament, so chapter 194, you can find it on manga here. The chapter right before he fights Piccolo, where he says, God can't kill himself. Of course, right after Goku beats King Piccolo and goes even above Korin's Tower, that one. The end of the Saiyan saga, and then definitely when he fuses with Piccolo. I think those 5 moments really encapsulate Kami's character, and just show that he was a very guilt-ridden sort of guardian, but he still tried to do the best that he could. So yeah, Kami to me is the most underrated character in DBZ. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm probably going to be doing some more after this. So, peace. Have a nice day.